And give me a second to go live on TikTok. What a clusterfuck this is. Ay. Well, we knew this was going to happen, but sorry, let me get TikTok rolling here. This is not news in the sense, we knew this was going to happen, but what a freaking mess. What a freaking mess. All right. Oh my God, what a mess. Ay. We knew the court was going to do this. Yeah, exactly, Callum. I can't make that joke on TikTok or they'll ban me. That's happened to other people. They've joked about that, and TikTok hears the word and it bans them. So, exactly, our overlord. We do not want to offend our overlords now, especially. What a cluster F. Hey, TikTokers, I've got TikTokers coming live now too. So the Supreme Court has just ruled the TikTok ban is constitutional. The court ruled in favor of the TikTok ban. This is not a surprise, still kind of a disaster, but not a surprise. What a mess this is. Oh my God. Thank you, who's that? A Big Hawk? Thank you, Big Hawk. What is up for today is the Supreme Court just ruled in favor of the TikTok ban. Folks, this was not a surprise. I had told folks, you need to trust me. It was unanimous. It was unanimous. The Supreme Court, all 9 justices agreed, supporting the ban. That is something I said was going to happen. I said probably 9-0 because the oral arguments, the actual arguments before the Supreme Court were so bad. The justices were so sort of mean towards the TikTok folks that as I said, I sort of suspected. Oh my God, what a freaking mess this is. So yes, anybody who's new on TikTok right now coming, the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of the law. The TikTok ban is constitutional, the Supreme Court says. Now, what does that mean going forward? We've talked about this before, and there's really only 3 possibilities here, none of them very likely, honestly. One, we had the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court were screwed. 2, the Biden not enforcing the ban, which the Biden people are now saying. That's kind of bullshit, to be honest. I think it's bullshit. So what the Biden people are now saying, first of all, the Biden people said, I'm a little pissed about that. Now, mind you, this is Trump. This is Republicans. This is Democrats. This is Biden. Thank you, Tattooed. Appreciate the gift. Fire. This is Democrats and Republicans both who did this. It's also the Chinese who did this. Let's face it. They've got a role here too. Thank you, Bryce. Trump tried to ban TikTok 3 times when he was president. Okay. Biden supports the ban. Republicans and Democrats equally in Congress support the ban. In fact, what is that? Oops. What was that on? Okay. A lid fell off of something. Where the hell did that come from? Of course, you brought it to bed with you. A lid. I lost a lid on something, a little cap. And of course, Sasha picked it up and brought it to her bed. Now I get to look around my house and figure out what the heck this was on. Anyway, in any case, and actually, which I didn't even fully realize. Remember the other day we were talking about how Senator Markey, a Democrat in the Senate, tried to pass legislation that would extend the ban 270 days, actually would delay the ban 270 days. What I did not realize, it was the Republicans who killed it. It was Tom Cotton, who's a conservative Republican from Arkansas, killed the legislation that would have extended or delayed the ban for 270 days. Hates TikTok, gave this nasty statement, but Democrats tried to get it passed, and it would have passed, at least in the Senate, had they not done this. Yeah. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, running. So where do things stand? 1, Biden's people initially said, mark my words, TikTok will not go dark on Sunday. Now Biden's people are saying, well, we're not going to enforce the ban on Sunday. That's bullshit. That's just classic Biden bullshit. I'm sorry. Really pisses me off. So how do I put this? The ban goes into effect on Sunday. Biden leaves the presidency on Monday. Monday at noon, Trump becomes president. So there's 1 day of the ban being in effect, right? And Biden says he's not going to enforce the penalties, which are very large, could be billions of dollars. Why? I mean, actually, that first day, it's $5,000 a person. It's $5,000 potentially a person, U.S. person. So The ban goes into effect on Sunday. Biden says he won't enforce it. That doesn't help. That doesn't help. I mean, if you're Google and Apple, I'm trying to let me give you the example. I'm trying to convince you to rob a bank, or you want to rob a bank, whatever. But I know you're going to rob the bank. I'm the police. I'm the FBI. I know you're going to rob the bank. And you say, well, I'm not going to rob the bank because I know you're going to come after me. And I say, it's okay. Go ahead and rob the bank on Sunday. And I promise you on Sunday, I will not arrest you. But I know you robbed the bank. Okay. But on Monday, you can still arrest me. Thank you, Heidi, for subscribing over at YouTube, right? What Biden's doing is saying on Sunday, he won't come after Google and Apple's app stores for billions of dollars of fines, right? He won't come after them. Oh, Teresa, I'm so sorry you have to leave. Bye. Good to see you. That he's not going to come after on Sunday, but Trump can come after them on Monday. They're still accruing the fines. They're still committing the crime, so to speak, Google and Apple, by letting the TikTok app on their app store on Sunday. So it's not enough for Biden or even Trump to say, well, we're not going to come after you. Well, it is not a legally binding promise. We're not going to come after you unless we decide to come after you. So Google and Apple will still be accruing billions of dollars in fines. But Trump and Biden are saying, don't worry, we promise, it's not legally binding promise, but we promise we won't enforce the billions of dollars of fines against you. If I'm Google and Apple, I'm going to go bullshit. I'm not going to. What if Trump, dies, gets sick and steps down, right? For whatever reason, he leaves the presidency. Will J.D. Vance not enforce the law too? I don't know. In 4 years, when Trump is no longer president, will the next president enforce the ban against TikTok? Will he say, well, you've got $100 billion in fines that accrued over the last 4 years that weren't enforced. I'm coming after you now. How about Trump himself, right? Will Donald Trump in a year or two, when he's pissed at Google because his stuff isn't coming up at the top of Google, will Donald Trump turn around and go, hey, Google, I've got hundreds of billions of dollars of fines. Oh, I just said, hey, Google, my Google went off. I've got hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars of fines against you. All right, stop it. I've got hundreds of billions of dollars of fines against you. I'm going to enforce those fines and come after you unless you cave to my will. If I'm Google and Apple, I'm not dealing with this. That's the problem, Raggedy Andy. Legally, what can a president do to get around the fines? He can't. That we know he can't. This is a law. The president can't get around the law. Congress can change the law. They tried the other night, and a Republican senator stopped them. Trump and Biden cannot say, they can. Trump and Biden can say, we're not going to enforce. But the crime it's not a crime, but let's call it a crime to make it easy. The crime is still being committed. If Google and Apple have the TikTok app on their store on Sunday, they, on paper, have committed, it's not a crime, like I said, but let's call it a crime. Thank you, Inger. A crime that could cost them billions, with a B, billions of dollars in fines. It's not enough for Biden and Trump to say, we're not going to prosecute. Don't worry. Because what if they change their minds? Like I said, what if Trump changes his mind? In other words, it is not it's not like the prosecutor reaches a plea deal with you or something, right? Where they can't come after you. That's not what's happening. Trump and Biden are not saying, oh no, we're gonna make a legal commitment that is written in stone that we cannot come after you, Google and Apple. No, that's not what they're gonna do. So this is bad. As I said, Congress changing the law, Democrats tried that the other night, and the Republicans killed it. The 270-day extension. So that's not going to happen. Thank you, Lise. Delaying enforcement, I don't think that happens. The third possibility is that that the president, either Biden in the next 2 days or 3 days, or Trump as of Monday, certifies that a deal is being cut, that TikTok is in fact selling itself, and it has reached it is negotiating with a buyer, and it's very far along, and this kind of stuff. The problem is that literally isn't happening, right? There have been, I think, 2 bids that we've heard of for TikTok. Mr. Beast, thank you, Nauseous. Mr. Beast and that billionaire, whatever his name is, McCourt or something, I don't know, the billionaire. There's no indication that TikTok is entertaining the offers. There's no indication that TikTok is negotiating with these guys, that the negotiation has progressed very far. All of that has to happen before the president can delay 90 days. This is a mess. This is absolutely a mess. I'm very annoyed. Oh, God. So yeah, guys, let's see, but I'm a little pissed off because honestly, I'm kind of getting pissed off at both the Trump and the Biden people. Both of them promised us basically, don't worry, this isn't going to happen, and now looks like it's happening. I am moving to YouTube. I have no choice. I'm on YouTube. You guys need to follow me on YouTube. My YouTube thing should be right there for TikTok. That's my YouTube handle, John Aravosis DC. I will still be doing this show on YouTube. I am anyway. I will be doing Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern, same as always. I do a show. We talk about the latest news, talk about Ukraine a lot, actually. But we'll also be talking about Trump and all the latest news, basically news show. Thank you, Wolf. But please do follow me on YouTube because, guys, come Sunday at this point, we're toast. Thank you, Wolf. Thank you, Cracker. I'm very annoyed. Thank you, Robert. This really sucks. Like I said, this is my income. 80% of my income comes from TikTok. This totally screws me. Absolutely screws me. It's very bad. Thank you, Eddie. Anybody new on TikTok who's joining us? What we're talking about is that the U.S. Supreme Court has just ruled against TikTok unanimously. They ruled that the law is constitutional. Folks are asking on TikTok, actually, you can go to my profile, look at the Linktree link in my profile and click it, and all my socials will come up. YouTube is probably the best place because I'll be doing my news videos. I'll be doing my nightly lives on YouTube. Thank you, Super Hornet. Thank you, Robert. I will try to post them as well on Instagram. I'm going to be posting more political videos, so you can certainly follow me on Instagram, Aravosis at Instagram. I pretty much have the same username on most of my social media, Aravosis, my last name, except TikTok, YouTube, excuse me, because YouTube is difficult. YouTube is a big deal. So YouTube made me have a long name, John Aravosis DC, because they're being a pain. YouTube will not make up my income, Chelsea. But what will work on YouTube is if people become subscribers. If you become a monthly subscriber, the problem is I need like 1,000. At least 1,000 people to become subscribers. It's not small. No, paid subscribers on YouTube. It's not small, unfortunately. But nonetheless, follow me on YouTube. If you could become a paid subscriber, I appreciate it. I know we've had a lot more paid subscribers recently. That sea of green, everyone on YouTube right now whose name is green, you guys are all paid subscribers. So thank you, Brendy, Jay, Smug, Jorge. Who else we got here? Is that it for Paul? Thank you, Cheryl. Dragon on TikTok. Yeah, I think that's it for right now on YouTube. Thank you, guys. Oh man. I'm just kind of, why doesn't the dog like to be picked up? Where'd you pick that from? She doesn't like to be picked up, but I don't know how did you, that was a non sequitur. Yes, no, my dog, ever since she was a pup, I got her at 10 weeks of age, and at 10 weeks old, she refused to let me pick her up. Already at that point, it was like, so I can do it, but I've got to go in very slowly anyway. Oh my God, guys. This is sucky. I do have a VPN. A VPN is the way you basically trick the internet into thinking you're in a different country. I'm going to try it. Let's see. I'm not convinced it's going to work. I think TikTok is going to figure that out, but I will try. I'm a little afraid. What I'm afraid is Thank you, Jorge, for the gift there on YouTube. Thank you, Seer. I'm afraid that TikTok, because TikTok, here's the problem too. TikTok is not required to shut down on Sunday. What's required to happen is the app has to be removed from the App Store on Sunday, Google's and Apple's App Store. If you've got the app on your phone, you can still use it until the app deprecates, basically meaning until the app gets to a point that it needs an update and it won't work without the update. Until then, this app, TikTok, could work for months for us. TikTok is being difficult. And according to media reports, at least, TikTok is reportedly planning on just pulling the plug on all the Americans on Sunday, I think, in order to put pressure on us to contact Congress. Because let's face it, if Sunday comes and the ban goes into place and TikTok still works for most of us, you're not going to get upset and contact Congress because it still works. If TikTok pulls the plug on 170 Americans on Sunday, all of us will be pissed off. And they'll have a little thing that comes up and says, contact Congress, and we'll contact Congress and be pissed off. So I think that's what's going on. Again, I get why TikTok is doing this. I also think it's a little obnoxious at the same time. Corey's in Canada. Honestly, I'm not going to do it. There's a part of me that even thought, do I move to Canada or go to Europe for a while? But it's too hard. I mean, how would I do it? Oh, God. Oh, the Supreme Court ruling is final, Chrissy. Yes. The Supreme Court of the United States is the final. Now, having said that, Supreme Court ruling is the final ruling on the constitutionality of the law, right? Had the Supreme Court said the law was unconstitutional for this reason, Congress could go and try to change the law and make it constitutional. And then it goes back to the Supreme Court, right? In this case, the Supreme Court ruled the law is constitutional. There is no legal redress at this point because Supreme Court says it's done. What you can do, though, Congress can go and change the law. Supreme Court simply said this law as written is okay. But Congress can go and change it. Congress can repeal it. Congress can amend it, like the Democrats tried to do the other night, which would have delayed the ban 270 days, and the Republicans killed it. So what the Supreme Court decided is definitive, but it doesn't mean there aren't other things potentially that can happen. There aren't any other legal options, not legal. When I say legal options, not illegal. There aren't any other options to go to court to argue against the ban. That's what I mean. The Supreme Court doesn't have the last word. Supreme Court has the last word on the constitutionality of the law, on striking the law down. But Congress can still repeal the law. Congress can change the law. Biden and Trump, little confusing, not entirely clear. I'm going to turn this off. It's annoying me in the background. Biden and Trump, not entirely clear what they can do. My personality annoys you. That's okay, ALC. You annoy me too, but I love you. Anyway, oh my God. I don't know what we do. Well, I mean, James, yeah, TikTok's position on a sale. I mean, who knows if TikTok's willing to sell. Thank you, Shell. Appreciate that. Department of Justice can choose not to enforce the law. Thank you, Chrissy, for the gift on TikTok. The Department of Justice can choose not to enforce the ban. Not the ban. Yes, the ban, but meaning the way the ban works is the Google and Apple app stores on your phone or your iPad or whatever will face a $5,000 or potentially up to a $5,000 fine per person for any American who is able to access that app, like actually access the app, okay? The damage could come into hundreds of billions of dollars, with a B, billions of dollars. Therefore, Google and Apple are not going to do it, right? What Biden is saying and the Trump people are saying is, well, and I explained this earlier, but I know we sort of get new people coming. I'll explain again. What Biden and Trump's people are saying is, well, we just won't enforce the penalty. Yeah, Google, you're going to be responsible for hundreds of billions of dollars in fines if you don't ban TikTok on Sunday, if you don't take TikTok out of your app store. But I, Joe Biden, while I'm president until Monday, I promise you I won't come after you. And Donald Trump could say, well, I promised Donald Trump, who I will be president Monday at noon. Thank you, lefties. I won't come after you for that money. Yes, you're guilty. Yes, you will owe hundreds of billions of dollars, but I promise you, I won't come after you for it. Is that promise legally binding? No. It is subject to Trump's whim and Biden's whim. Now, Biden's gone in 3 days, so Biden doesn't have time to go after TikTok, or I should say Google and Apple. But Trump can. That's the problem. Trump in a year gets pissed at Google and says, I don't like the fact that my news stories aren't coming up at the top. Or Google, there's a search result at the top that's embarrassing for me. You're doing it on purpose. I'm going to enforce that $100 billion fine against you. Right? I'm going to enforce that $100 billion fine against you unless you change your algorithm and make it better for me. Trump could do that. So the problem is Trump's promise, or Biden's, not to enforce the ban means nothing. It's not legally binding. He can change his mind at any time, which means that Google and Apple will always have over their heads the risk of $100 billion fine or whatever it is if they piss off whoever is president. They can't do that. What I mean is they can't accept that. If I were a lawyer advising them, I'd tell them, no, you can't. You would literally, so yes, currently the ban goes into effect on Sunday. We believe TikTok will go dark for the Americans on Sunday because there have been multiple stories. TikTok has not said anything publicly other than their lawyer in court made a comment. But TikTok has been pretty quiet publicly. But there have been multiple news reports that TikTok employees have leaked that TikTok is planning on pulling the plug on every American on TikTok on Sunday, I believe just to pressure us into contacting Congress. So at this point, it looks like, yeah. I did not move all my videos to YouTube because, well, here's a funny thing too. First of all, I don't have all my videos. So that's the first problem. Second of all, a lot of the videos are old, right? Like I do political videos. How do is it really worth, I was thinking about this, but moving my videos, but a video from 2 weeks ago is old news. If I post a video on YouTube from 2 weeks ago, it's dated today and people think it just happened, right? So I don't think it works. I am going to keep doing videos on YouTube. I will do my short videos on YouTube. I will keep doing my nightly show on YouTube, which I'm doing anyway. I do have a Substack, which you can follow. I'm going to actually do an update today on that about the Supreme Court stuff. It's very, very bad. I'm not really a big believer in petitions, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, the only thing is I'm just not sure. Thank you, user 336. I'm just not sure. In any case, I'm just not sure that migrating the videos will matter. Again, because they're old. I just feel like, and I've had this before with political videos. My older videos they're old. I think it confuses. If I say President Biden said today or Donald Trump said today, people are going to think Donald Trump said it today, even though it's a 3-month-old video. I don't think that works. I do have a VPN. I'm going to try it on Sunday. We'll see what happens. I think TikTok will figure it out anyway, but let's see. Do I think TikTok will be back or it's gone forever? I don't know. That's true, ST. Thank you, NJ, for subscribing on YouTube. Love you. Thank you. Let me ask. I mean, the problem is I have to ask Syndicate because he's the only person who could even pull this off. Where'd he go? Hold on. Hold on. I'm writing my tech guru. As I said, I still worry. I just wrote Syndicate. I still worry a little bit about. Thank you. I saw that. Bowie and Courtney. Thank you, guys. I do still worry, like I said, about posting videos that are. Come back to the. There we are. About posting videos that are old. Yeah, it's hard. It's a pain. It's such a pain. It's such a freaking pain. I brush my dog's teeth every night. Yep. I don't know, guys. I'm very upset about this, guys. I'm very upset. Biden has not certified. Biden will not certify. Here's the problem to delay the ban. In order to delay the ban, I will read this to you. I'm a lawyer. I have a copy of the law, the TikTok ban here. Listen to what Biden has to certify in order to delay the ban for 90 days. Okay. Listen to this. Update for everybody who just joined on TikTok and elsewhere. The Supreme Court has just ruled unanimously that the TikTok ban is constitutional and that the ban will go ahead as planned on Sunday. As I said, it was a unanimous decision, which is very bad, but expected. I thought, I had predicted probably it was going to be 9-0 unanimously. They ruled on national security grounds. They said free speech wasn't an issue. They said this is national security. There are legitimate concerns from the U.S. government that TikTok, A, could use all the data that they're collecting about us to somehow use it against us or something. I'm not quite, they didn't explain it very well. The explanation I saw didn't explain a ton, but it basically talked about how all the user data of what you're doing could somehow be used against you. B, very concerned about the propaganda aspect, that TikTok, the Chinese government could use TikTok to basically skew the news in the U.S. in order to help, fascist candidates, like happened in Romania with the Russians or something like that. Thank you, Russell. So yes, the ban goes ahead on Sunday to the Supreme Court. I mean, I will tell you this, as I said, sort of all the experts, not all, the smarter experts said that there was no chance in hell the Supreme Court was going to help us. There was no chance. Hold on here. Oh, thank you, Sally. Woo! Another subscriber on YouTube. Thank you, Sally. Appreciate that. Anybody who can afford it, please become a subscriber on YouTube. I need like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube to make up the money I'm losing. It's bad. And I mean, getting 1,000 subscribers is going to take a while. But that's what I need in order to make up the money I'm losing on TikTok. It's a lot, unfortunately. But we're going to do what we can. Thank you, Sprout. Oh, thank you, Misty. Shelly. A lot of people went over and subscribed. Now, subscribing anyway is great. What I mean is I need people to be paid subscribers is what I need. But nonetheless, subscribing is still great. So thank you guys over. In other words, following me on YouTube is still great. So thank you. It doesn't cost money to subscribe. No, sorry, Ranger. I didn't explain well. It is free to follow me on YouTube, but I also, YouTube, like TikTok, has a monetization thing where you can become a paid subscriber to support somebody's work. So you basically, on YouTube, it's like the cheapest one might be $4.99 or $5.99 a month. I forget. On TikTok, it's $6.99 because TikTok takes 30% of the money. I know, 50%. TikTok takes 50% of the money. YouTube does not. My YouTube is John Aravosis DC. It's at the top of my screen. I think it's still there. My little goofy thing here. That's my YouTube account. Corey, woo-woo! Thank you, Corey, for following me or for becoming a paid subscriber. So yes, what I'm asking is at the very least, if you can, please follow me on YouTube. At the very best, if you can pay for a monthly subscription, it helps me a lot because TikTok is 80% of my money. It's really bad. YouTube Shorts. I'm going to keep doing YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts have not gotten me any money, but supposedly YouTube Shorts bring you more viewers. And especially today, actually, even today, I did my update on TikTok, but I didn't do an update about the Supreme Court. I didn't do it on YouTube, and I need to. So I will do that shortly. How will losing the U.S. hurt ByteDance? I don't know. I mean, we're a big audience. I don't know. Thank you, Pam. Sarah, I'm not sure what to tell you about the subscribing. YouTube ought to be pretty easy. Not sure. I just don't know what to tell you. YouTube should work. Now, if you're having trouble on a phone, maybe try a computer. I don't know, but that's, other services can have problems, but YouTube has been around so long, you'd think they'd have it down. Sorry about that. Oh man. You subscribe, Tattooed Mom, you subscribe by hitting what people have told me on YouTube. People have said you hit the $sign at the bottom of the screen, and one of the options should say subscribe or something like that, or become a member, I believe maybe they call it. Anybody on YouTube want to help me out? Because I see sort of different stuff on my side. Yeah, I'm only seeing super chats and super stickers, but that's because I can't subscribe to myself. Oh my God, a paid membership. I never know what to call it over, because they also call them different things on TikTok and YouTube. You had to go to the website. Okay, that's what I was wondering. So if you're having a hard time on YouTube, you may have to go to the website rather than using your phone to do it. Do you think subscribing might hurt your banking? I'm not sure what that means, Susan. What do you mean? Are we getting the ban or not? Yes, we are getting the ban. As things currently stand, we are getting the ban. Interesting. Janine says you can't do it from an Apple iPhone. That's insane. Wow. If you have an iPhone, it won't show it. There's a link in my description, okay, to the sub. That's insane. How does the iPhone not work on Google's YouTube to subscribe? Thank you, Sally. Oh, Sally gifted a membership. Thank you. Oh, and Karen got it. That's nice. Karen's a longtime regular, so I always like to see the longtime regulars get it. $4.99. That's what it is. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. So it's cheaper on YouTube. Actually, I will say this. It's cheaper on YouTube by $2 than TikTok, because YouTube takes less money. YouTube takes like 30%. TikTok takes 50%. So, Thank you, guys. Thank you, Lightning, for even considering. I appreciate that. You're a paid subscriber on it, but I like to watch you on it so I can tap. Yeah, I know. Well, I like TikTok. Look, TikTok. Oh, thank you, Brendy. Sarah got the gift for membership for a month. Excellent. Now, by the way, one thing I will add for the memberships. At this point, I'm not going to suggest you become a paid member on TikTok because, right, we don't know what's going on. But were you on TikTok, YouTube, and Discord, all the paid, and Ko-fi as well, all the paid members, I do a special show Saturday morning, which I'm doing tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, U.S., just to hang out with me and the paid subscribers. It's a very small crowd. I mean, like 60 to 100 people on TikTok, maybe 10, 20 people on YouTube. It's a nice small crowd where I can really see all your comments and engage, which is nice. Also, I do shows throughout the week where I jump in and do a subscriber only show. Typically a show like this today that I'm doing, because I do my show every Monday to Friday at 6 o'clock Eastern time, US. I do my new show. That's free for everybody. Typically, when I do a show like this where I jump in during the day, I do these shows only for the paid subscribers as a thank you. But because we're talking about the TikTok ban and it's so important, I didn't want to make this just paid subscribers. You know what I mean? Because I need to get the word out to everybody what's going on. And hopefully so that you TikTok folks follow me over on YouTube. So does it let you give out a free paid membership? TikTok sometimes, not YouTube. YouTube does not. I wish it did. No. TikTok often gives me some free memberships for a month that I can give people, but there aren't any right now on TikTok. And YouTube, they don't exist, which really ticks me off because that's stupid. Thank you, Jen, for following me. YouTube absolutely ought to give me, for like Discord. Not Discord. I'm also on Substack. I'm doing a newsletter now too. It's free, but you can pay and help me. And I do, I'm trying to do like a paid one during the week and then a Friday one. Discord Jules, you can go to my profile on, well, two things, I guess. You could always Google my name, Aravosis, in Discord. It should come up. But you can also go to my profile on TikTok. Go to my profile on TikTok, guys. Click the Linktree link, and all of my information is there. It's one of those pages of YouTube, Venmo, PayPal, Discord, Twitter. Everything's there. When you see the Discord, here's the trick, though. If you're on a phone, thank you, Push Karen. Yay! Thank you for subscribing. Paid subscriber on YouTube. Woo! I should have like do I use the goat? We'll use the goat today when we get paid subscribers. I forgot what I was saying now. That you got me off track, but in a good way, you got me off track. I'm totally forgetting what was I saying. Yeah, TikTok paying. There's a question. Well, no, TikTok. Something else happened with TikTok in terms of payment. Actually, I've got to contact PayPal now too. TikTok, the payments got screwed up this week, so it's not clear that they're not paying us. But but it's being delayed and everything else. Oh, another channel. Yeah, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. We were talking about Discord and how you get on my Discord. So the way you do it on TikTok, go to my profile, look for the Linktree link, click it. It will bring up a page of all of my socials, my YouTube, everything else. Look for Discord, but if you're on a phone, maybe an iPad too, you have to click and hold the Discord link. Don't just click it and let go. If you click and let go, it's going to give you an error. If you click and hold I don't know why it does this, but it does. If you click and hold the Discord link, it'll bring up a pop-up that says something like accept invite at the bottom or something. Click that, and then you're fine in principle. Otherwise, if you're on a computer, you should be fine just clicking the Discord link. But Discord, it's a free community. Same thing, you can become a paid subscriber, but it's a free community. I have auctions of cool stuff from Ukraine that I do. I haven't done one in a couple of weeks. I know I've got to. All of this has kind of made me topsy-turvy. And our paid subscribers on all the other services can get into our VIP auctions. Class action suit. I mean, the problem is there's no one to sue, Peter. Peter's saying, what about a class action suit by creators? Who do we sue? You can't sue Congress for passing a constitutional law, right? I mean, that's the problem. We actually, and the legal option just disappeared with the Supreme Court, unless we came up with some kind of new legal argument, right? So at least the initial constitutionality argument lost. I don't know whether you could come up with a new legal argument that could then go up to the Supreme Court again. I don't know. How old is the law? It was passed 270 days ago, 268 days ago. Loss of income now. There's no one to sue because the law is legal. Supreme Court said the law is okay. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate the suggestions, but yeah. Can it be amended? Yes, it can always be amended. Democrats in the U.S. Senate tried to amend it 2 nights ago, and the Republicans killed it. In the U.S. Senate, which is really annoying, the House of Representatives, whoever's in charge, the majority, which is now Republicans, can get anything done. They can do whatever they want to some degree. In the Senate, it gets more complicated. One senator can cause a lot of trouble. And what happened was Democrats tried to amend the law to extend to delay the ban for 270 days. And Republican Senator Tom Cotton, who's a real jerk from Arkansas, stepped in and objected, which killed it because one person can stop everything. Yeah. So in other words, well, it's even more, I mean, I worked in the Senate. It's even more complicated than that. Because he's objecting, they would have to go through a much longer process of trying to amend the law, and it would take days and blah, 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 blah. And I don't think they're willing to do it. The puppy gets a treat. Yeah, except I don't want to get her fat, NJ. That's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. Yeah. So that's what's up. That's what's up. I know. I mean, Circle, I'm with you. Now the ban supporters are going to say, well, we had 270 days to adjust to this, right? That's what Tom Cotton, the Republican who killed the effort to delay the ban, said. He goes, well, you had 270 days, which is what, 9 months? Yeah, you had 9 months to adjust. Oh, very annoying. Why would the Supreme Court side with hypothetical situations? I mean, it's not hypothetical in that the ban happens on Sunday, right? It is not hypothetical yet. The law is on the books. Once the law is on the books, it's not hypothetical. So that's the first problem. It's a law. B, the ban is happening Sunday, so it's not hypothetical either. That this applies to TikTok. TikTok's name is in the legislation, and that the ban is going to happen Sunday, it absolutely is automatically. So that's why, because it's the law. It's not just Congress is thinking of passing a ban on TikTok. Let's go to the court and stop it. No, you can't. They haven't passed it yet. Once they pass it, then you can go to court. Ay, guys. This sucks. That's my favorite new Austrian TikToker. Guys. I agree with you on that. That's an interesting question. Yeah. One day old fries is saying, no, she meant the Supreme Court agreed that China could hypothetically influence. I mean, okay, I'm a lawyer. I have a law degree from Georgetown. Doesn't mean I'm a constitutional expert. Okay. I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you, right? But I will admit, when I was listening to the arguments, I was thinking and going, well, the administration is making a hypothetical argument that, oh, China could use our user information on TikTok to blackmail us or whatever, or influence, or I don't know, whatever. Also, China could use the app to somehow skew the news and impact an American election. And to me, I will agree with you. I think, Jay, I'll get to yours in a second. I think the TikTok lawyers made a mistake. Then again, maybe the argument doesn't have legal merit. I don't know. But to me, I was like, that's awfully hypothetical, right? What do you mean they may? They may do what? How exactly are they going to blackmail you using the fact that you watch dance videos and I watch cooking videos on TikTok, right? And lately I've been watching Greek lessons, learning Greek lessons. How are you going to blackmail me with that, right? But I mean, so to me, it did feel kind of hypothetical, where I was like, okay, yes, China, adversary of the U.S., yes, but the harm you're alleging has not been quantified, right? China has not used this app. And not only has China not used the app to hurt us, this would be my argument in court, but what you're describing doesn't even make sense. How will China use its algorithm to somehow blackmail me as an American? How's it going to do that? I mean, right? It's not like TikTok, other than being gay, maybe, right? Maybe because the algorithm does figure out if you're gay and stuff. It does do that. If you're gay and in the closet, okay, right? Why do you spend all day looking at gay videos or whatever, right? Maybe. But other than that, it's hard for me to figure out how they're going to blackmail you. Influencing the election, as XOXO just said, the counter argument to that, which, by the way, no one brought up during the Supreme Court arguments, which I'm shocked. The lawyer for the U.S. government and none of the justices brought up the fact that in Romania 3 to 4 weeks ago, there was a presidential election that the top court in Romania ruled was stolen by the Russians using TikTok. A far-right candidate, fringe candidate, had 5% in the polls going into the election. In the election, he got 23%, more than anybody else. Now, in Romania, what that means is you've got to have 50% or there's a runoff. So if nobody gets 50%, 5-0, the top two candidates, then there's another election 2 weeks later or whatever, the top two candidates go against each other. Thank you, Lori. Wait. Lori became a subscriber on YouTube. Thank you. The top two candidates go against each other. So this guy, who's like a far-right fascist with 5% support in the polls, the Russians go crazy on TikTok and for several days hijack TikTok, whatever, and get this guy soaring to 23%. Well, what the Romanian court, the top court in Romania decided was it happened. It was real. The Russians used TikTok to steal the election, and the top Romanian court threw out the presidential election in Romania, which was amazing to me. Absolutely amazing. So that's the counter argument is, well, actually, now here's the problem though. Here's the problem. But here's the problem with that. And one of the things you do as lawyers is you learn to argue both sides. But the counter argument is, aha, you're saying the Russians came onto TikTok and played games. Okay, right? You can, all right, the Russians put up a bunch of they created a bunch of fake accounts or whatever. Let's say TikTok sells itself and no longer belongs to the Chinese, right? Let's say TikTok sells itself to an American. The Russians still could have created thousands of fake accounts. The Russians would have still stolen the Romanian election. They would have created the fake accounts and put out fake news and shared it everywhere. The Chinese government was not involved in somehow stealing the Romanian election. The Chinese government did not choose to allow the Russians to steal, right? It was the Russians who did it using the app. And even if you change owners, the Russians can still come in and create fake accounts. They do it on Facebook, right? We hear about those stories from Facebook all the time, to Twitter as well, but all the fake Russian accounts that are created. So, this gets us back to somebody had said earlier, which I thought was an interesting argument, is the harm feels very hypothetical and it feels a little vague. Now, why does it matter? I think it matters because it gets to the national security issue, right? You can argue, China is a national security threat to the U.S. or whatever. Yes, China is an adversary. They are. I mean, they're, it's a communist dictatorship. I mean, it's not a friendly place to the U.S. or to the world, really. But having said that, that does not mean per se that TikTok is a national security threat. And I'm not convinced the people explaining why TikTok is a national security threat have done a good enough job. So, recap, Marcia. So the recap is the U.S. Supreme Court unanimously ruled that the TikTok ban is constitutional and that TikTok, the ban will go forward. And on Sunday, TikTok gets banned. But they ruled that the national security concerns of the U.S. government were sufficient. The free speech concerns of TikTok were not sufficient. So, what do you do? I mean, it's just really bad. Well, no, TikTok quite literally had fake accounts in Romania. So that's not true that they don't have bots. They had a bunch of fake Russian accounts that helped steal the Romanian election, and the election got thrown out by the top Romanian court. Having said that, that did not happen because TikTok was owned by the Chinese. That happens on Facebook too. Facebook is owned by the Americans, but the Russians come and create fake accounts. So that's why I think this national security argument of China is a little sloppy here. If you're trying to bring up Romania, I mean, I bring up Romania, but it's right. They could have done it even if TikTok weren't owned by the Chinese. Maybe Gunther. I don't know. Gunther says the Chinese didn't do content moderation effectively to take down the Russian election influence videos. An American owner would do that. Maybe, but we hear about Facebook, finding all these Russian bots and everything else. Thank you, Bowie, for the multiple gifts. I don't, or Bowie. It's funny. I say Bowie because that's the town in Maryland. That's funny. I've lived in DC a long time. I would have said Bowie otherwise, but here that's Bowie, Maryland is how we pronounce that name. That's funny. So yeah, Gunther, maybe. I mean, and Gunther's counter argument is the Chinese are sort of refused to clamp down on the Russians, whereas an American owner would have. Maybe. And now TikTok's weird too. TikTok's moderation policies are very strange because, as folks know who regularly follow me, they're very heavy-handed. I mean, like I get, my lives get canceled all the time for nothing. I'm talking about the news. I mean, the most famous one was TikTok banned me for a week for translating an article from the French paper Le Monde, which is like one of the most famous publications in the world. And I speak French. I was reading the article and translating it. It was about the president of France changing his mind on the war in Ukraine. And they banned me for a week because they said it was hate speech or something. And I was like, or misinformation. And it was like, it's an article from Le Monde. Like, and TikTok does that kind of crap all the time. So, there is weird moderation stuff with TikTok, but exactly, Jason. I think they need to do a better job explaining why here's the thing, like China is a national security threat to the US. Yes. But that doesn't mean TikTok is per se. Now, I do believe TikTok, or frankly, Twitter. I mean, let's be honest. If we're going to ban TikTok, we should be looking at Twitter too. Elon Musk is a clear threat to America and our free speech. But he's a threat to our democracy. And he's been supporting fascist movements in Europe now, in the UK and Germany. So that's that. It's Miss Super Chat. Oh, did I? Oh, you're right. Sorry, Jay. I was answering that other question. Thank you for reminding me, Laka. Yeah, I was answering that other question. I forgot you were there. What was the actual law the Supreme Court ruled? It was regarding freedom of speech of foreign governments. I'm not sure what your question means. I'm not sure what you mean. Ask that again. I mean, don't pay for it, but ask that again. I mean, there was a law embedded in a much larger piece of legislation that was irrelevant. The largest legislation was about something else. They put in a 6-page law that says TikTok will be banned if it is not sold. If the Chinese if the Chinese own more than 20% of TikTok, a Chinese company, TikTok is banned. The arguments made by, I think, TikTok's lawyers were freedom of speech arguments. And the Supreme Court ruled against it. and said, no, the freedom of speech arguments don't apply. And the national security arguments, I shouldn't say don't apply. I haven't read the opinion because it was it still was a, dozens of pages decision. But they ruled that the national security arguments are valid, and the national security arguments trump, no pun intended, trump the freedom of speech arguments. Is that what you mean? I'm looking here. Oh, regarding that, but I thought they ruled on the right of foreign governments having freedom of speech. I did not see that. That's an interesting question. Again, all of this stuff is just happening now. Let me look here. That's a really interesting question. TikTok ruling. I'm already forgetting who was that. That was Jay. Interesting question, which is let me look Washington Post, see if they've got it. Did they make any statement about foreign companies or foreign governments having free speech rights in the U.S.? That's a very interesting question. Let me see here. Hang on. Washington Post, the Supreme Court on Friday refused to block a federal law that would effectively ban TikTok in the U.S. as early as this weekend. The unanimous decision was a major blow to TikTok. Trump has vowed to save the app. No U.S. law has ever shut down a popular social media platform before. Trump asked the Supreme Court to delay implementation. The ban is now poised to take effect on Sunday. The court's unsigned 20-page decision, it's not too long, I can read it, but literally I went live the second I heard it, said the ban or sale law does not violate the free speech rights of millions of TikTok users in the U.S. That's interesting. They were arguing it was the TikTok users' free speech right. The law was passed in April with bipartisan support. The justices said the U.S. government was justified in singling out TikTok and its China-based parent company, ByteDance, writing that the app's scale and susceptibility to foreign adversary control, together with the vast swaths of sensitive data the platform collects, justify differential treatment. I'd still like to know what sensitive data the app collects. But I mean, maybe it does, but I'm having a hard time. There is no doubt that for more than 170 million Americans, TikTok offers a distinctive and expansive outlet for expression, means of engagement, and source of community, the opinion says. But Congress has determined that divestiture is necessary to address its well-supported national security concerns regarding TikTok's data collection practices and relationship with a foreign adversary. Justices Sotomayor and Gorsuch, who are the Democrat and Republican, wrote separately, agreeing with the court's judgment about the constitutionality of the law, but expressing some concerns. In response to the court's decisions, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said Biden believes TikTok should remain available to Americans, but under new ownership, and implementing the law must fall to the next administration. Yeah, we know that. That's kind of mealy-mouthed. Enforcement is ultimately up to the Justice Department. It was not clear whether the White House statement will deter companies tasked with implementing the law, including the app giants Google and Apple. The justices emphasized that their opinion applies narrowly to TikTok, but free speech advocates criticized the rule, saying it would expand government censorship. At oral arguments last week, a majority of justices appeared to credit Congress's concern about the Chinese government covertly using the app to collect vast amounts of sensitive data about millions of American users and potentially exploiting that information to blackmail young Americans or turn them into spies. Honestly, when I read it like that, it almost makes me want to laugh. It sounds so ridiculous. I mean, I am a big I'm a big privacy advocate on the internet. Americans do not have the kind of privacy protections that Europeans have with the internet. And so I'm like a big advocate on it's kind of scary, all the information being collected on you. I still need somebody to explain what all the information is that TikTok's collecting on me. I mean, again, unless you're gay or something, like are trans or whatever, I'm not sure what videos you're looking at. Otherwise, the videos I look at are linguistics. I like people talking about language. I look at videos about Ukraine. I look at videos about cooking. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm just not quite sure what TikTok is finding out about me that is a national security risk. No, if you're gay and in the closet, that's interesting, right? Because I could see somebody who's closeted looking at TikTok and thinking, and they're looking at, there are a lot of gay videos on TikTok, meaning like hot guys with their shirts off and this kind of stuff. Certainly somebody who is not out openly gay could think, oh, they're safe on TikTok or Twitter looking at, hot videos, right? Yes. that's a possibility. That's a possibility. But other than that, I'm not terribly convinced. Yeah, the cooking video thing, forget it. Bill of Attainder, I'm trying to remember, is Bill of Attainder when you name somebody specifically, Mario? I think it is. I was wondering about that too, to be honest, but maybe it doesn't apply to companies. It only applies to people. I was wondering about that too. I was like, the legislation literally names ByteDance and TikTok, and under U.S. law, or Supreme Court, you're not allowed. I believe, from what I studied, this is 40 years ago, you're not allowed to name, like, pass a law targeting like a specific American by name kind of thing. The only thing is, well, A, this isn't an American, and B, it's a company. I am going where I'm already at, YouTube. I'm at YouTube and a bunch of other social media. You guys can find all my social media on TikTok in my profile. Click the Linktree link in my profile on TikTok. You'll see all my social media. But YouTube is probably the most obvious place to go, because I do a nightly show Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern. I will be here tonight on TikTok and YouTube and Discord. But if the ban goes into effect on Sunday, I will continue to do my show on YouTube. So, and who knows about other maybe Twitch. I mean, we'll see. But the thing is, YouTube's kind of the bigger one. Let me see what else we got here. Several justices from across the ideological spectrum, this is the Washington Post, emphasized that foreign entities do not have First Amendment rights. This is during the arguments last week. Foreign entities do not have First Amendment rights, and that the site could continue to operate in a similar manner, but under different non-Chinese ownership. That was my argument. Was the freedom of speech argument gets interesting because it's not content-based. TikTok could have the same videos today as it has on Monday. It's not banned today, it's banned on Monday. But it on Tuesday, if TikTok sells to a non-Chinese entity or person or whatever, the same content is okay, right? So the issue is who owns TikTok, not the content of TikTok. Why do you guys keep saying it's not owned by the Chinese? It's owned by a Chinese company. I mean, I'm not quite sure why you all keep saying that. Because honestly, nobody thinks that TikTok isn't ultimately under the thumb of the Chinese government, of the Chinese. Yeah, but it's not. No. I mean, people keep saying that, but it's not. Pulling this up right now. It's literally owned by a Chinese company headquartered in China. That's what I mean. Like, yeah, who cares if the CEO is from Singapore? I mean, no offense, but guys, come on. I don't care if the CEO is from Mars. I said it's a Chinese company. And people, every time I say that, I get a few people on TikTok, and honestly, they feel like trolls, to be honest. Because it's not owned by the Chinese. It's literally owned by a Chinese company called ByteDance that is headquartered in Haidian, Beijing, and incorporated into the Cayman Islands. So it is. Yes, the CEO is from Singapore. That's irrelevant. He works for the Chinese. That's the problem. I mean, again, I don't want to ban TikTok, but let's not make up things to try to pretend, you know what I mean? Yeah. Well, I'm not sure I care about COVID coming from China, to be honest. That's not really relevant for this. All it has to be is 20%. Anything more than 20% Chinese ownership is a justification under the law to ban it. So, Equal Rights Amendment? I'm not sure why you're bringing that up, Grayson. That deals with sort of women having equal rights and stuff. Not really relevant to this, and not going anywhere either, but not really relevant to this discussion. Anyway, yeah, ByteDance is a Chinese company. Exactly. It's owned by the Chinese, And here's the problem too. Okay, let's devil's advocate the other way. Yeah, so TikTok is based in Singapore or whatever, but the parent company is Chinese. Are you saying the parent company can't go to TikTok and go give us your data? Really? The Chinese can't go to TikTok and go give us the data, do this and this, ban this, don't ban this? Give me a break. Give me a break. ByteDance owns TikTok. They can do whatever they want. Ratified the ERA. I don't even know what that means. Sorry, but I don't know what that means. That's Congress. That's not Biden. Unless something just happened somehow otherwise with Biden. Oh, okay. Biden did just do something. You're right. How weird. This is weird. Biden declares the ERA as the law of the land. Biden declares, oh, Equal Rights Amendment. You mean the gay one? Oh, no, that's the women's. No, Equal Rights Amendment meaning the women's stuff. Yeah. Biden declared that the Equal Rights Amendment is the law of the land, attempting to ratify a 28th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution in a last-ditch effort to protect women's rights, reproductive rights. But Biden's assertion may amount to little more than an expression of his opinion. Yeah. Yeah. The move, which states that Biden personally believes the ERA has cleared all the hurdles to ratification, would be unlikely to carry weight. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, that's really weird. Yeah. No, the ERA is dead. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, okay. I mean, fair enough, but that's just weird from Biden. I don't even know what he's doing, to be honest. That's just weird. Yeah. Yeah. But it wasn't ratified. I'm not sure why he's claiming it was ratified. I thought it did run out of time. Oh, I see. They're getting into this whole debate. They're getting this whole debate on whether it was ratified in time or not. VPN. I do have a VPN. I am going to try to use it on Sunday. I'm going to do a test run on Sunday. Oh, Syndicate's here. Let me see what Syndicate says about grabbing the videos. Oops, hang on here. Same problem, Sally. Sally says, hypothetical question, what would happen if a Chinese company bought Twitter or Facebook? Same problem. Yeah, same problem. I think they would be in real trouble. They'd be in real trouble. They would be banned. Also, the legislation specifically names TikTok and ByteDance, but it says any company more than 20% owned by the Chinese. Yeah, I'm asking Syndicate what to do with my old videos. It's hard. Now, one of the problems with the old videos is TikTok plays game. TikTok is so ornery. TikTok plays games where if it sees your video somewhere else, it then claims it's not original. In other words, if I do a TikTok video and it saves it on my phone and I post my TikTok video on YouTube, TikTok has been known to disqualify my video saying, oh, you copied it from YouTube. It's like, oh God. So that's why I've not posted my TikTok stuff elsewhere up until now, because there's a real risk of if TikTok survives, then I've got all this content somewhere else. It's a mess. Do you think Trump will save TikTok? Now, I'm not sure he can, Sky Queen. Thank you, by the way, for asking the super chat question. I don't know if Trump can. It's kind of a mess. It's a big mess. Because under the legislation, all Trump can do as president is delay the implementation of the ban by 90 days. Think adventures. But there's two potential legal problems, Chevy Guy. Here's the problem. One, the legislation says the president can delay the implementation of the ban by 90 days, but the ban already is going into effect on Sunday. There's no longer time to delay the implementation. It's not clear that this legislation, that the 90-day delay, it's not clear that that applies after the ban goes into place, because no longer is it a delay. The legislation specifically says extension, that you can extend the 270-day period, which is the period before which a ban goes into place. TikTok has 270 days to sell itself. That runs out on Sunday. So the legislation says, sorry, we're going to have to, one moment here. One moment. The legislation Sorry, I was reading a comment. Oh, right. So the legislation says that TikTok, I'm going to say this, the 270-day period that TikTok has to sell the app before the ban goes into place can be extended 90 days. That's done. Come Sunday, that 270 days is over. How do you extend something that's gone, right? You can't extend the waiting period before the ban goes into place after the ban goes into place. There's no longer a waiting period to extend. That's the first argument. Thank you, Kathy, for the gift on TikTok. That's the first argument. The second problem, as Donovan just said, the president has to certify that. Actually, I was going to read you this really quick. Listen to this. The president has to certify that to Congress in order to do the 90-day delay. That there is a path to executing a qualified sale of TikTok has been identified. That evidence of significant progress towards executing that sale has been produced with respect to whatever. And C, there are in place the relevant binding legal agreements to enable execution of the sale. So in other words, the president has to certify, oh, there's legal agreements in place, clearly showing that the sale is about to happen. I've got quantitative proof that I can show, or qualitative, whichever, that the sale is about to happen. He doesn't really have that right now. Now, Trump could just lie and do it anyway. Probably would. Yes, Kay. Senator Cotton screwed up in the Senate. So what happened was Democrats were trying to pass a 270-day extension in the Senate 2 days ago, and a Republican Senator, Tom Cotton, objected, which was enough to kill it. So we potentially could have had a 270-day extension proposed by the Democrats, and the Republicans killed it, which was very annoying. So yeah, that was bad. That was bad. What else we got, guys? I'm very tempted. By the way, I think I'm going to make another. Hang on, I'm going to make another cup of coffee while we're talking. One moment. One moment. Oops. All right. I'll be back. It's an espresso, so it's a quick cup of coffee. So don't worry. I will be just one moment for my coffee. All right. One moment, all. Oops. Oops. There we go. All right. There we go. My Nespresso is brewing. I don't like Nespresso because they're small. I like a bigger cup of coffee, but I will say it's kind of useful for, like, I'm going to have this coffee in 15 seconds. Ay, 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 ay. According to your phone, you're Canadian? Okay. Well, you'll be here. I won't be. Here's a problem too, by the way. Thank you, Sky Queen. Another question. Can TikTok owners divest only like 3%? Then Trump be like, good enough? If TikTok's owners divest below 20%, they're fine. If they own 20% if the Chinese own 20% of the company, then they're toast. So that's the problem. That's the problem. So the legislation says 20% is. I'll read it for you in a second here. One moment here. One moment, guys. Doing my coffee. Oops. Stirring my coffee. I'll be right back. Gotta get a little milk. All right. All right. There we go. There we go. Oh, perfect timing. Dog wants water. All right. Good timing, dog. Good timing. All right. Oops. Oops. All right. There we go. All righty. There we go. I made my coffee. Yay. Like I said, the Nespressos make small coffees, which I don't like, but it makes quick and easy coffee. The dog always needs water. Yeah, she's always been, ever since she was a puppy. She's always, yep, let me find you the 20% part. Hold on. It's under the definitions of who this applies to. Controlled by a foreign adversary. So it says any company controlled by a foreign adversary. Controlled by a foreign adversary is defined as a foreign person that is domiciled in, is headquartered in, has its principal place of business in, or is organized under the laws of a foreign adversary country. B, an entity with respect to which a foreign person or combination of foreign persons described above, right, hostile country, directly or indirectly owns at least a 20% stake, or a person subject to the direction or control of a foreign person or entity described in subparagraph A or B. Oh, interesting. So even if the foreign government doesn't own 20, or the foreign person doesn't own 20%, 32 days left. We've only got 2 days left. Only 2 days left, not 32. Got news for you. I mean, appreciate you spreading the news, but that's not correct. It's 2 days left. So it's enough that the company is a foreign person that is domiciled in or headquartered in or has its principal place of business in a foreign adversary, and it does. So it's not clear. It's not clear. If they're controlled, well, it's very, bottom line, guys, is, I mean, I'd have to like read this again because it's very complicated. It's hard to explain the law for people who didn't study law. Hey, Croatian. Follow me on YouTube. Go to my profile, click the links. I'm posting stuff on Instagram, not as much, but Instagram, Twitter. I'm all the time on Twitter. YouTube as well. YouTube is where I'm trying to get people because that's where I'm trying to monetize. Discord certainly. Substack as well. Oh, boy. Oh, chicken, you're going to leave because apparently you're stuck in the 1980s. I'm sorry, but I sort of get a chuckle out of people who think like, internet jobs aren't real jobs. Oh, I've got news for you, kid. Like that might have been true in 1980 or something, but why is China treated by many as an adversary, even an enemy? Because it is. I mean, I'm not sure what you mean by that. I don't think there isn't much disagreement about that. No, here's the problem. And this answers your question. I can't really answer your question on TikTok or I will probably be banned and my live will be canceled. That answers your question right there. Because TikTok censors to such a degree that I probably can't even answer that question. So that's the problem. If it were owned by France, I could criticize France and get away with it. But I can't give you detailed explanation of why the Chinese Communist Party is evil and why basically they're the enemy of the U.S. I can answer it on YouTube. I'll do it later, but I'm live on TikTok right now. I can't do it. And again, that answers your question. But there isn't any real doubt that China and America are, again, if you don't want to use the word enemies, adversaries, yes. Yeah, girl, I don't want to call the ban official. What happened was the Supreme Court today ruled that the ban, I didn't plug in my microphone. I've been doing this. Hold on, there we go. I've been doing this the whole time with my bad mic for TikTok. I try to use my good mic for you guys. What the Supreme Court ruled today is the ban is constitutional and the legislation is not struck down. So the ban will go into effect on Sunday. Yep. Didn't sound bad. Okay. Well, this one's so much better though, because it's my really good microphone, my Shure microphone. I can do ASMR with this. But the other one is the mic on my iPad, which, it's okay. But coffee does not get too cold too quickly. Nah, I mean, it's okay. Little bit. Yeah, I didn't even realize the mic wasn't plugged in. No, I like to use my mic, although my mic has been having issues now. I think on Discord it's okay. On YouTube, I'm going to have to test again. My mic stopped working on YouTube for some reason. Biden 36 hours thing is that the ban goes into effect on Sunday at some point. Joshua, you're funny. The ban goes into effect on Sunday. and Biden. So Biden has until the ban happens to potentially delay the ban, but he probably can't delay the ban because he'd have to certify that TikTok is in the process of being sold, and they're not. So, Biden is not doing much, although it's not clear what Trump can do either. I mean, I think Trump is going to, the problem is Trump is going to like issue some statement. I will not go after TikTok. You can stay in the App Store. That's not legally sufficient, I don't think. Thank you, Norway Fox, for the gift. I don't think it's legally sufficient. You know? Oh, gosh. Yeah, please do follow me. The problem with an executive order is executive orders are basically statements from the president. The president writes a letter and signs it as executive order. Those do not overrule federal law. They don't. They just don't overrule federal law. So a president's executive order cannot overrule the TikTok ban. He can do things within the ban, like, okay, potentially he cannot enforce the law, as we talked about. He can say, yeah, TikTok and Google, Apple and Google store, the app stores will accrue billions of dollars of fines if they keep letting TikTok stay. But I'm not going to go after them. So Apple and Google, go ahead and keep the TikTok app on your stores. Yes, officially on the books, you are now liable for $100 billion in fines. But you can trust me, Donald Trump, I won't come after you. No one would agree with that, right? Miranda, woo-woo, Miranda became a subscriber, paid subscriber. Woo! Thank you, Miranda, paid subscriber on YouTube. Thank you. No company is going to say, so come Sunday, I could be liable for $100 billion fine if I don't kick TikTok off the App Store. But because Donald Trump promises me, don't worry, you can trust me, I won't actually come after you for that fine. I can anytime in the next 4 years come after you for $100 billion, but don't worry, I won't do it because you can trust me. No company is going to trust that. I wouldn't trust Joe Biden. Donald Trump, I really wouldn't trust. But even Joe Biden, no president would I trust because it's not a legally binding promise. It's not a legally binding promise. Oh, thank you, Miranda. That was very sweet of you. I appreciate that. It's what I mean is that's just Trump saying, today I won't hold you accountable for the crime you commit on Sunday worth hundreds of billions of dollars. But if I get pissed off at you in 6 months, I can come after you for the money. Yeah, Google and Apple. Well, why would they want to do that? They're not going to allow it. Actually, the other problem is, correct, as Ren just said, Ren Amy, it's not just Apple and Google. I think Oracle or something is involved too. There's an issue here, and this gets over my head in terms of tech stuff. I don't know, maybe some of you know. There's an issue with regards not just the App Store for Google and Apple, but there's some kind of an issue with Oracle and how TikTok uses Oracle and maybe Oracle servers. I don't know what the hell it is, but that the ban may go strike even more of TikTok. Does anybody understand how that works? I think they keep mentioning Oracle, but what does that mean? The data proprietary host. Does it mean TikTok runs on Oracle servers or something? The US data. So the US data is on Oracle servers. So the question becomes, does TikTok have to shut down the US operation or move it to servers outside of the US? Right? That would be the issue? Which is ironic, by the way, because then if TikTok were to move to servers outside the US would have less control over the data on those servers. You can't move it. That may be why TikTok is talking about just pulling the US operation entirely. I mean, TikTok is talking about just canceling everything. Oh, hey, Nikos. I did not see we had a Greek with us today. I'm going to guess Greek since it says Nikos Kont. That looks like a short for a Greek name. Good to see you. Over on Discord. Yeah. So it's yeah. Syndicate's telling me he doesn't think they're going to be shut down. I think there's going to be a last minute effort to save them. I'm just not sure how they get saved. Okay. Thank you, God. Syndicate is so good. Syndicate is going to look at trying to grab a bunch of my videos just so I've got them. He's not convinced that TikTok is going to get banned. I think they will for a while, but he's like my tech guru friend that set up our Discord and everything else. And he is going to look at trying to grab a bunch of my videos because I can grab them with my phone, but it's not easy work. So that would help a lot. He can do it. He's a tech guy. I mean, I can do it on my phone. I can do it on my phone from the app quite easily. Issues with using a VPN. Here's the problem, Christy. We don't know. One problem. All my videos, right? My profile, my videos, are they hosted on American servers? If so, that could go dark on Sunday. Thank you, user242. It's funny. It says, thank you for providing legit information, not just what we want to hear. That's like the story of my life. I've always joked with people, and I mean, sort of in politics as well. I'm a partisan. I mean, people can tell when I talk about politics, you can tell I don't like Trump. But I also try to be sort of honest about what I say. And I'm very critical of Biden a lot of times too. And I also think on this TikTok stuff, Biden has been playing games. So like I often say things people don't like. Like Republicans really get pissed at me, but Democrats get pissed at me too. And I've often told people there's a wonderful Greek myth about Cassandra. The name Cassandra comes from ancient Greece. And I'm forgetting what I should pull this up. Let me pull up the actual myth because it's such a wonderful myth. But bottom line is, I'm going to pull it up and tell you. But I always love this because I always feel like I'm a bit of a Cassandra here. Let me pull this up. All right, Cassandra, sometimes referred to as Alexandra, I did not know that, in Greek mythology was a Trojan priestess dedicated to the god Apollo and fated by him to utter true prophecies that no one would ever believe. I'm going to see this here, what actually happened. Apollo sought her love by giving her the gift of seeing the future. According to Aeschylus, she promised him her favors, but after receiving the gift, she went back on her word. Oh, so Apollo gave her the gift of seeing the future if she would love him. And she said, okay. And then she got the gift and said, screw you, Apollo. So he said, fine. Then you know what we're going to do? You can see the future, but no one will ever believe you. And it's something I always sort of love that story. See you, Lightning. I always sort of love that story because I often feel like in my politics, I'm in that situation because I'm very good at reading what's going on. But because I'm willing to basically piss people off, and again, I lean more Democrat than Republican for sure on a lot of, not every issue, on a lot of issues. On foreign policy, I lean more traditional Republican. But I piss people off because I'm a little too honest, and they often don't believe me, I think. So, and then it's like, actually, my favorite story was the BBC. I've told you guys this. When I went on the BBC, I want to say BBC Radio, had me on election night 2016 to talk about Trump winning the election. And it was really late at night. They were like an hour and a half late. It was something like 1:30 in the morning, and I was exhausted. And they got me on the show. And the BBC guy had me and some American professor. And the American professor, they go to me first. And I said, I think we should take Donald Trump at his word. I think that this presidency is going to be a disaster. It's going to be bad for Europe, bad for foreign policy, bad for America. I mean, again, the guy has said what he's going to do with the Muslim ban and everything else. Take him at his word. It's going to be a disaster. And the American president, oh, John, I think he's exaggerating a little bit. I think we have checks and balances in our system. Trump won't be different than any other president. And the BBC host said, well, thank you, John, for joining us, and cut me off. Literally, I got to give like a 1-minute answer saying, I think we should take him at his word. He's going to be a disaster. And the BBC host literally kicked me off the show nicely, but kicked me off the show because I was being negative about Trump. So they made me wait an hour and a half. I was supposed to go on at like midnight or something. An hour and a half, they had me wait till 1:30 in the morning, only to have me come on for a minute. because the BBC didn't like what I said because the BBC was convinced Donald Trump was going to be okay. And of course, 8 years later, I win. But as I said, I often call myself Cassandra because people don't always believe my prophecies, but I'm pretty damn good. I've always said I wish I'd worked at the CIA. I never, didn't pursue that lifestyle. Wish I had. But yes. So anyway, yeah, they do owe me an apology. Anyway, guys, I'm not going to go too much longer. So yes, we were talking about the fact that the TikTok ban has been upheld by the Supreme Court. Were you actually there, Dr. Yeah? Was upheld by the Supreme Court. The ban will go into effect on Sunday unless someone is able to stop it. Biden, it is not clear what Biden can do to stop it. It frankly isn't clear what Trump can do to stop it, to be honest. I'm not convinced there's much that anybody can do. Let's see. As I said, they keep talking about not enforcing the ban. I don't think that's enough. I think if you're Google and Apple, you're going to say, are you crazy? Like, I'm going to be liable for hundreds of billions of dollars in damages and penalties, but I should just trust you, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, that you won't eventually come after us for hundreds of billions of dollars? Give me a break. So I feel like TikTok is going at this point. We will see. So just to remind, as I finish my coffee, I'm in Washington, D.C. of all places, Mystery Girl. Thank you for following me on YouTube, Miss. Oh, hey, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I think a lot of federal agencies would not be fun to work at, and CIA probably is another one, but maybe it would just be too much. But I regret it because this is a whole other story. I'm very good at looking at minutia of data. I enjoy looking at lots of data and looking for patterns and that. I really enjoy, and that's one thing that I think I've become very good at in politics. So that sort of and national security has always been a love of mine. So that retroactively, I kind of wished I'd gone the CIA route, or at least that kind of. I actually got a job offer in grad school from law school from the Materiel Command. It was like an Army intelligence group, but I was like U.S. Army intelligence. I was like, I don't think so. It sounded a little too, like, meh. It was a little too, like the U.S. Army intelligence, just because, even DIA people are kind of iffy on, but I was like, U.S. Army intelligence, although I could have used it. Oh, it's a little too late now, I think, Celine, probably. Thank you, Bowie. It's a little late now, unfortunately, but what do you do? But I do like, who knows how the CIA actually works, U.S. intelligence, but like I said, I love looking at data. And I mean, not data, but meaning all the little minutiae of information and trying to figure out what people are thinking and where they're heading. And I love that stuff. And I think I'm good at it too. Thank you, Bowie. You think Trump might try to push a repeal through Congress? Yes, I do. Question becomes whether he can pull it off. But I think he will. It is still possible. It is still possible that Congress can do something about this. Oh, hey, Callum. I didn't even see you were here. That Trump can do something because he can tell the Republicans. Because look, even though the one Republican senator killed the extension, killed the delay, a Democrat earlier this week tried to delay the ban for 270 days, and Republicans killed it. But it was one Republican senator. You can kill it with a filibuster, which is kind of what he did. But you can overrule the filibuster. You just need like 60 votes or whatever. So that senator could be a pain in the ass. Tom Cotton. Thank you, Jay Shea. Thank you, Kellum. That senator could be a pain in the ass and object like he did. But Congress can overrule him with 60 votes. It'll take several days to do, and that's a lot of time legislatively. But so what? Yep, Ed Markey is who I'm talking about exactly. That's the Congress can still change this. They would have to take several days to do it. And it just, so here's something you need to know. Actually, that's a really good point. This is probably not a bad point to end on. Again, both parties are responsible for this. Democrats and Republicans unanimously supported this legislation. This is not a Democrat thing. This is not a Republican thing. Donald Trump supported the legislation up until he didn't. Donald Trump tried to kill TikTok, ban it 3 times when he was president. Trump is now our friend because Trump met with a Republican billionaire who is an investor in ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok. And suddenly Trump found Jesus and loves TikTok. So, but that's fine. Hey, as long as he's on board, I don't care if it's for corrupt reasons, right? That's fine. And then, as I said earlier this week, a Democrat tried to extend the ban, tried to delay the ban, and the Republicans killed it. But Congress can still repeal this. Congress can still change it. They just have to spend several days doing it because one of the senators is objecting. He's doing a filibuster. They'd have to spend several days overruling his, overruling his filibuster. They may not want to. I mean, so right now, in terms of, again, actually not even right now, I'm not sure when Congress is in session. They're out of session right now, I will bet you. I will bet you they're out of session right now till after Martin Luther King birthday. When do they come back? Does anybody know when Congress comes back? Do they come back Tuesday or Wednesday? I don't know. We'd have to Google it to see. I don't know if any of you are congressional geeks. But let me see here. When is Congress back in session? Days in session. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Congress. Ooh. Oh, well, it's not. No. This is retroactive. I need to see going forward. Here we go. House of Representatives schedule. Let's see if this shows it. Okay. Federal holiday, days in session. So Congress is in session next week. Okay. The House is in session. I'm going to assume the Senate is as well. By the way, actually, here's an even more important thing, guys. The more I think about it, maybe I'll do a video. Congress was in session this week. Congress could have fixed it this week if they wanted to. They chose not to. Yes, a Republican objected, but they could have brought everybody to Washington and voted on this. They chose not to. Congress can fix this next week. They may not. Oh, there you are. Nico, good to see you. You're funny. All right. Congress can fix this if they want. Trump can order the Republicans. Most of the Republicans will come on board. Schumer, the Senate Democratic leader, is on board now. I think they've got enough members to support, maybe not repealing this, but at least amending it and delaying the ban again for a year, maybe, right? The only question is whether they want to. But this is something, again, the more I'm thinking about it, the more it's pissing me off a little bit now. If Republicans and Democrats both are saying they want to fix this, why the hell aren't they doing it in Congress right now? I mean, again, they were in session. They were in session this week, meaning, doing their business this week. They're in session next week. Why aren't they fixing it? It will take them several days. That's a pain in the ass. It is a pain in the ass. Too bad. I worked in the Senate, so I'm allowed to say doing Congress stuff because I know what the Congress stuff is. But it's a really good point. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, they can fix this if they want.